Dice Tower Tonight, episode 48.
Convention decompression.
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, we're back from Dice Tower Con, where we got to play a bunch of games, including at least one in person together. Plus, I have a challenge for Crystal and the chat, and we answer questions from the audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the unicorn to my dragon, Crystal Pisano.
I just have to say, we're making Kigurumis a thing, and I don't care what Tom thinks about it.
I really appreciate that we annoyed him tremendously. So there was one night at Dice Tower Con that we and a bunch of people decided to wear these animal onesies known as Kigurumis, and it was entertaining for sure.
It was, and we did post. There was a picture posted in the Dice Tower Convention group, I think,
Yes.
of the entire group of people. Well, not everybody was in the picture, but a lot of the people wearing them were in it. And honestly, we just looked adorable. And annoying Tom with it is my favorite part at this point.
That is true. It is certainly an added benefit. And someday we'll get him to put his back on. He owns one.
He does own one, and we know it. And I think he actually put it on one time and even said that he liked wearing it. But now that everybody's wearing them, he doesn't want to because he wants to seem like cool and different.
He doesn't. He thinks it's too much of a fad now, and so he doesn't want to do it himself. Anyway, I know I will not be wearing my Kigurumi again until it cools down in this house. So like right before I left for Dice Tower Con, the air conditioning at my house went out.
Oh no.
And we found out that it's an old unit. They don't repair it anymore. They don't make pieces for it anymore. We've had to order a new one, and it's still not being installed until I think next week.
Oh gosh. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine because it's like really hot here in Vegas. Like I would not be able to live in my house if our AC was not running because it's right now outside. It's 104 degrees here.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that hot, but it's like high 80s, low 90s today, and
that's still miserable.
Yeah, and I work inside a fuzzy box that does not have good ventilation, so it's already bad. So here's how crazy and extreme this has gotten. I have turned to weird products that I found on Facebook ads. I am wearing on my wrist this device. Have you seen ads for this thing, Crystal?
I have. I've actually looked into it because I tend to really like being comfortable temperature-wise, and that one intrigued me.
So this is a device called the Ember Wave. And so, like I said, I work in this box, and when it gets too hot in there, my brain stops working. I need to be able to concentrate on what I'm reading, especially with like the dense book I'm reading right now. And this thing... So I'm going to hit the button right now because it's already hot in here. I can hit it and it sort of lights up. And then I'm like, I want to be cooler. And so I hit this button. And suddenly the underside that's attached to my wrist gets cold because whatever this thing does, I still can't really figure out how it works. But it doesn't make any noise. See, it's quiet. It radiates away from one end of the device and toward the other end of the device. So this end is getting a little warm, but the side that's against my wrist has gotten noticeably cooler. The idea being that I now have this like a cold compress, or how people would take their mint julep glass and put it on their wrist. Haha, I am cooling myself. And it's supposed to sort of fool me into thinking I'm cooler. It generally works. It's not perfect, and my brain still melts when I'm in the box. But I'm wearing it now because, by gum, it's warm.
So when I was a teenager, my dad had this weird obsession with Sharper Image. And there was a product that Sharper Image came out with. I don't remember what it was called at all, but it was a big metal plastic device thing that you would wear around your neck. And it was pretty chunky, to be honest. It was like maybe the third of a size of a normal airport travel pillow, but it would sit on the sides of your neck. And I don't think you had to put water in it, but maybe you did. And it had metal plates that would cool your neck. And in theory, it was supposed to, because all of your blood is running through your neck, it was supposed to cool down your entire body. And I totally stole one of them, not stole, but took the one that my dad had and took it with me to marching band practice because it was super hot outside. And I looked like a huge dork, even more so than usual. And I do not think it helped that much, but I was pretending like it did because I wanted to be cool and I was wearing a product from Sharper Image. I'm such a weirdo.
I get, yeah, okay. I mean, I look like a pretty big weirdo right now too.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know if it's worth it because this, even with a coupon, is $250. That's a lot of money. So the reason I did it's a business expense. It helps me work and concentrate in the booth. So if this had not been something I could take, deduct on taxes as something that's going to help me with my job, I would not be buying this thing. But if it helps me concentrate, we'll go for it.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's a lot.
Enough about ridiculous technology that may or may not be helpful. Let's talk about some games, and we have played a lot lately, Crystal.
We have. I played so many games at Dice Tower Con, and I'm excited to talk about some of them.
We should quick recap Dice Tower Con out in Orlando, Florida. We had a lovely time. I got to play a lot of hot games. In fact, Tom had us sort of stationed and on shifts around the hot games area in the main gaming hall. So we got to play a lot of new stuff, and I fit in one play of my favorite, Merchant of Venus, while I was there. We had shows. We got to meet a bunch of people. It was a whirlwind blast of a time. And kudos to everyone who organized, volunteered, came. It was just a wonderful show all around.
Very smoothly run. I did not hear about any major issues as far as like the attendees were concerned. I do know that they had some issues with people keeping games out of the game library for longer than they should have and returning games with missing components, like more than just like an errant piece here and there. And that's always a bummer. But other than that stuff, I really didn't hear about any significant issues at the event. So that's always a plus.
Absolutely. And we got to play a game with each other, which doesn't get to happen very often.
We did. It was funny because at the beginning of the con, I was like, Eric, we have to play something together. And for the record, Eric and I are friends and we love playing games together. But at these types of events, we do try to play games with as many different people as possible, which inevitably means that we don't end up getting to play games with each other that much. But we made sure to do it at least once so we could talk about a game together.
Absolutely. So this, unfortunately, is not a game that either of us own, so we can't show off too many or any visual aids, but it is called Rolled West, which is based on a larger size game. It's a roll and write game based on Gold West, which in itself is a pun on Old West. Anyway, I haven't played Gold West, but
I have
Rolled
not
West,
either.
yeah. So Rolled West is a game about collecting various resources. They've gold, silver, and copper, and then either shipping them or building settlements, opening home offices, basically filling out different sections of your sheet before other players do.
Yeah, this is one of those roll and write games where you roll certain things and you have multiple options for what to do with the things you rolled. I mean, assuming most of the time you're going to have a lot of different options and trying to pick which one to go for. It's one of those things where you're racing the other players to higher scoring opportunities in specific areas and trying to choose which ones you're going to go for is where the interesting decisions come in this game.
Right. The dice themselves are dodecahedrons. They're D12s with different resources, these different resources in varying frequencies on them. So I think gold, there's only 2 on the entire die. Silver has slightly more. Copper had more. And there's also a 4th resource, wood, that you use to build settlements. So you've got 4 of these dice, and you'll roll all 4 of them, and you'll choose one of them to be the terrain for this turn, which one determines where you can build settlements this turn, but it also basically says this die is out of contention for the round. I can't use this for other things. Amongst the other 3, you can spend those things to, and I'm picturing the sheet now. You've got your basic roll and write sheet. In one corner, you have home offices. And
Boom
they have
Town.
The Boom Town. So you've got a grid. So it'll have copper, silver, gold on one axis and copper, silver, gold on the other. And if I manage to get 2 resources, I can cross off or circle the meeting of those 2 axes. So copper and gold, there are 2 boxes in that grid that I can circle, and that'll give me some sort of end game scoring bonus at the end of the game. That could be 1 point for every delivery I made, or 1 point for every office that I am creating. So that's one section. Then there's another section that's 3 tracks for gold, silver, and copper. And every time I spend one of the dice, I mark off one little circle, and it's basically a race to the end. Once you've delivered 5 silver, 5 copper, 5 gold, you're going to get some points. In fact, I think it was points for 3 and then 5. And if you're the first to do so, you get more points than you do if you are second, third, or fourth to do so. Last on your sheet are these sections where you can spend wood. So remember, I said you name one of these dice as your terrain for the turn. That will determine what row you're going to be building in. And then you can spend wood resources to either build small little, what do they say, camps or small little tents, triangles on your sheet. And settlements, by spending 2 wood, are a tent and a circle. And it fills up more spaces along this little track. If you get more of those than your opponents, you'll get some endgame bonus points as well. Plus, I think just building along that track gets you some points.
And then there's one other section that has the contracts in it too.
There is. I forgot about the middle. You know why? Because I didn't fulfill a single darn one of those things in the course of my game. Yes, in the middle, you have basically just turn in a bunch of resources, and that is a contract. And those are pretty big points because you have to save up the resources to do it. How do you save up resources, Crystal?
So between your turns, you can bank a single resource from one of the other players. So if I roll my dice and then it passes over to Eric and he rolls his dice and one of his resources is gold, for instance, which tends to be pretty valuable, on my sheet there is a spot where I can bank a gold. But let's say Eric doesn't roll anything I want and then Mandy rolls her dice. I can bank a resource on her turn as well. I can't bank it on both of their turns. I can only bank one resource between turns. But it's nice because a lot of the contracts require you to spend a whole lot of a single type of a resource, more than you could even physically roll in a single turn. So banking resources becomes very important for fulfilling those contracts. And that is how I was able to fulfill one contract that required a lot of gold, and I made everyone slightly angry. But I didn't win the game, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes, and this is probably my favorite aspect of the game is the banking of stuff on other people's turns. We found it a little confusing at first. Mandy was reading the rules and trying to get the timing right, but they have this big row right at the top that has a shadowy box with other players in it, and then there's your turn number 1, and then shadowy box for other players. Turn number 2, you're allowed to bank a resource on your turn as well. So it's before your first turn, you could bank something. On your turn, you could bank something. Between turn 1 and turn 2, you could bank something, and continue, and you cross it off as you use it. It's not nearly as complicated as we were making it out to be when we first did it.
That's definitely true.
I like that you are watching the other people's turns and grabbing something. It had, I think I mentioned this, it felt a little like Würfel Bonanza, the Bonanza dice game, where you're sort of watching, please roll the thing I need. Oh, yeah, hold up for a second. Don't move the dice around too much because I know I want that resource and I want to make sure I write it down. It played very quickly, and I liked the arc, and I liked the different scoring opportunities. I liked the race. I can look around and see what you're building toward, and, well, maybe I had 2 or 3 options to spend these resources on, but if I really push in this direction, I can beat you to that scoring bonus, and then to hear the groans when that happens was fun.
Yeah, I will say when we were going, so Mandy is the one who actually taught this to us, and she was taught by the designer, Daniel Newman. So she hadn't played it since he taught it to her. So we had to pull out the rule book a little bit. But I will say when we were going through the rules, it didn't grab me. Like, I wasn't super crazy interested just upon hearing the rules and looking at the sheet. And because it's an Old West theme, that's a theme that I tend to gravitate away from typically. And the color palette, being an Old West theme, was very brown and just kind of blah. And in case anyone hadn't noticed, I like colorful things. What? So needless to say, it wasn't grabbing my attention right from the get-go. But once we started playing, honestly, I really liked it. And it's hard for me to find a roll and write game at this point that I don't like, but this one definitely was a winner in my book. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it certainly had enough of a twist that I felt like it was a unique concept, and it sort of has me interested to play Gold West, see how I'd like that one. So that was Rolled West.
Yep, I really liked that one a lot.
So what else did you play, Crystal, that really stood out over the course of the convention?
So the day before I left to come to Dice Tower Con, my doorbell rang and I had a package at the door, and it happened to be a game that I had backed on Kickstarter. This game had previously been printed and was getting re-released by BoardGameTables.com, and that is QE. So it showed up literally as I was packing games to go to the convention. And I was like, well, that's a sign, right? Like I have to bring it. And I was like, okay, so I punched it out and I brought it with me. And I'd never played the older edition of this game before, but it had kind of struck me as similar to High Society. It is a bidding game, but unlike in High Society, where the amounts of money that you can bid are very predetermined, in QE, you get to bid any amount of money you want. You are literally printing money. That is what the imagery on the front of the box is depicting.
Oh, wow.
You are bailing out companies during the 2008 financial crisis that are quote unquote too big to fail. So you can play with up to 5 players. I only played it with 4 and 5 players during the convention. And I played this, I think 6 times total. I taught this to a bunch of different people. And every player gets a little dry erase board of their country that has a spot for them to write their bid amounts on it. It comes with dry erase markers as well. Each player also gets a large player board that shows the different ways that you can score in the game. And there's a different side for 3 to 4 players and for 5 players, showing like you get victory points for different tiles. You get victory points for bidding 0 in specific rounds. You get victory points for getting tiles of your own country. And then there's set collection in that you're trying to connect either the same types of tiles or get a diverse set of all different types of tiles. And those each score in different ways depending on the player count. The tiles are really nice. They're these big chunky circular tiles that have different amounts of points and different types and different countries listed on them. So during the game, players, one person is the auctioneer each round, and a company comes up for bid. The auctioneer then bids on it publicly. So they write down on their marker board what they want to bid for this tile, and everyone knows what they bid. Everyone else bids secretly and passes their tiles over to the auctioneer, who then looks at all of them, takes the winning tile, and that can be their own if, in fact, they bid the most, and they write the amount that was spent on the tile on the back of it. And then they pass it face down to the player who won it. So only the auctioneer and the player who won the auction know how much was spent to get this company. And you do that multiple rounds, depending on the number of players. And at the end of the game, whoever spent the most money total loses instantly. And then whoever has the most victory points wins the game. It is brilliant. Every single game goes differently. I love this so much. The final totals were different in every game I played. In one of my games, the most spent was, I think, $175,000. I had other games where the most spent was like in the tens of millions. So it's interesting because one player start the bidding at 100,000, and someone else will be like, "Oh, I got this. I'm going to bid like 300,000," and then they don't win the auction, and they're like, "Wait, what is happening?" Because you don't know how much it's escalating always unless you're the auctioneer. Right. Oh, it's so much fun. And it goes by quickly enough that if you do happen to not be guessing well and you don't win any of the tiles, it's not super horrible to kind of get nothing. And whoever bids the least amount of money does get some bonus victory points at the end. Although in all the games I played, the person who spent the least never won the game. So there is that. I love it though. QE is great. I'm keeping High Society because I think it fills a different void, and also that one fits in my quiver, and this one will not. But I love it. I'm so happy I get to teach it to a bunch of people, and everyone I taught it to seemed to really like it.
Yeah, I mean, you were very excited when I said, "Hey, what are we gonna play?" And you're like, "I've got QE." But I didn't actually get to play this with you, and now I'm disappointed because you seem so excited about it.
I'm finding more and more that I like bidding games. And it was funny because someone during the con offered to teach me modern art because I've never played it, and we never got around to doing that. But it is definitely on my short list of games that I should 100% try.
Very cool. One that I'd been really excited to get to the table at Dice Tower Con was this new release from Sashi and Sashi. This is the Japanese publishing company. This is called In Front of the Elevators. It's about waiting in front of elevators. You have a faction, a family, for lack of a better word, and it's a set of colored cards, and I actually have to dig them out because they're buried under the French rules, which I don't care about. Okay. So you have a bunch of elevators, and you'll see that there are only a number of slots for each round of the game. You play over the course of 3 rounds. There will be 3 elevators out there. There's also a specific type of person who's going to get extra points. There you are. If they are the ones on the elevator, they get double points. If, in this case, the mother or the grandmother is on that elevator. But you have been given a color. If you're playing a 2-player game, you have 2 colors. And you start out with a couple of the people in that faction, but not all of them, because they're mostly going to be distributed in this deck of cards. And here's what the cards look like. So this is the grandmother of the yellow faction. On your turn, you'll have a hand of 2 cards, but they might not be your faction. And you'll play one of them in front of one of the elevators. Now, basically, you have to go to the end of the line, of course, because that's how things work. But depending on who you play, so if I have the girl skips in front of the boy. If there are any boys in the line, she will skip in front of the closest boy to the elevator. The grandmother skips in front of the grandfather. The boy skips in front of the mother, the father skips in front of the grandmother, the grandfather skips in front of the little girl, so it's like one big circle. And then there's the lost child. The lost child goes to the end of the line and grabs any of the like-colored people, the same family basically, and brings them over to her. Come stand by me, as she says. So there's that. And at the end of the round, once all the cards have been placed, or all but one, actually, you'd go through the entire draw pile. Everybody gets one more play, and that ends the round. So that's already kind of crazy with all the shifting order of stuff. But there is something called the cafe rule. If you ever have 3 of the same type of card in line for the same elevator, they all go away. They're worth 1 point at the end of the round for you. And at first you're like, oh, that's interesting. No biggie. That's hugely important because there's 5 different colors in the deck. So therefore 5 of each type of card. And so if the cafe rule has not yet been scored for, say, the grandmothers, and you put your grandmother is the second one in line, it's in tremendous danger of being removed by the play of a third grandmother in that line. And so the timing of when you put these things into position, especially if they're those double scoring characters, is very important. It's kind of a nasty game for standing in front of the elevators. But I love the art. It's adorable. I love the theme. Sashi comes up with these adorable little themes. They're the ones that did Let's Make a Bus Route and Coffee Roaster and Blend Coffee Lab. They just have these quirky little themes that are very charming. And in this case, kind of mean. But I like it. In front of the elevators, I'm hoping that these get some wider distribution soon. Because right now you have to order from Amazon Japan in order to get them. But people do bring them over. I think Meeple Source had a few over at Dice Tower Con, actually. So in front of the elevators is worth trying for sure. But I really like it. This one's going to stick around, I think.
And someone in the chat actually said, I think the same thing I said to you when you were showing it to me at Dice Tower Con. It's that it kind of sounds similar to Guillotine or Beastie Bar, in that you've got a line and you're trying to manipulate what is in the line to score optimally.
Except it's 3 lines, and it's a little more focused, because I think Guillotine, I haven't played Beastie Bar, but Guillotine has some more crazy characters that do a lot of weird manipulation in the line. This one's pretty straightforward. You play the 1 card, and it's got 1 power. It might do 1 jump, 1 position jump, and that would be it. Also, nothing is set in stone until the round is done, so there's no scoring until it's all over. So there's a lot that can still happen as the round continues. I like it.
It sounds interesting. I'm probably going to give it a try at some point. So obviously we can't talk in depth about a whole bunch of the games we played, but were there any of the hot games or games that were new to you that kind of stuck in your mind as things that you really enjoyed?
There were 2 that I really liked. One is Hadara. It's sort of a card drafting tableau building game that the way that the cards are drafted is very cool. You've got 5 different suits, 5 different colors. 4 of them are, emphasis on certain resources, and the 5th is sort of a catch-all wild category. But at the beginning of each round, there are a number of cards in these stacks, twice the number of players, and so you will draw from one of the stacks, take 2 cards from that stack. One of those cards has to get discarded. It's out of, you don't get to do anything with it. The other, you get to either buy, and it'll list the price on the card, or sell for a base price based on what era you're in. And you continue like this until you've drawn from all 5 of the stacks. You get the 2 cards, discard 1, buy or sell the other. Then, after you do some bookkeeping and building and income collection, you then get to deal with the discard piles. Again, in turn order, you can take the top card of the discard pile, the stuff that you threw away before, everybody threw away before, and deal with those. So you might have a card in the first round in phase A that you go, I can't build this now, but I might have a chance later to take care of it. And I really like the timing. Also, there's a subtle decision if you're the start player, which pile you draw from first. If I maybe really want a red card this round, but I don't have the money to pay for it yet, maybe I want to back my, draw from the green pile first and work my way toward red, sell a couple cards first before I get a chance to build red. You play over 3 eras. The cards get progressively better as you go, and it has a little bit of a 7 Wonders feel. It has a little bit of a Splendor feel, because the more of a type of card you have, the less expensive that type is. Resource management, I really liked it. Hadara, pretty cool.
Very cool. It was funny, in our last episode, you were talking about Pandemic Rapid Response, the real-time game. And I said, after you described it, I was like, I don't know if I'm interested. Well, I played it. It was on the table in the hot games section. And I have to say, I liked it a lot more than I was expecting to. I really enjoyed it. And real-time games are very hit or miss for me. Some of them I love, some of them I hate. So I wasn't necessarily hating on it, but it just wasn't grabbing me. And I'm very happy that I played it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think for people who like, what is her name? Her last name's Klinko. Jane? No. Kane?
Kane Klinko.
Kane Klinko. Her games, I think this is a must try for sure, because I think it's actually, I liked it more than Fuse, which I have played before. So it was really fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you liked it. I haven't had a chance to play it with the family yet. I just haven't gotten it to the table with them, but that's on my list this summer to make sure they get a chance to play that.
Yeah. And I guess, so really fast, other things that I played that I got a positive impression of, I did get to try the prototype of Return to Dark Tower that Restoration Games had at the con. And I wasn't allowed to take any pictures or record any video of it, so it will not be in my vlog for the convention. And they definitely still have some work to do on it before they launch the Kickstarter in October. But I can say that the description of the physical tower blew my mind. I am so excited to see this thing come to fruition. This plastic tower, this mechanical tower that's going to be in the middle of the table is going to independently spin multiple sections, have light up runes that will face different players, and will have magnetically controlled doors in different sections of the tower that will open to help determine like the time of the tower, like the length of the game. And you drop things into the tower, blight and crystals and other stuff, and those magnetically controlled doors will then theoretically allow more of the things you've dropped in to fall out onto the board and will cause like the blight to spread across the world. Yeah, we didn't get to see a physical component for the tower. We had an app that was controlling what the tower would do, but I'm telling you, it is something very special. I am very excited to see this one come to Kickstarter and then come to fruition. They have mechanical engineers, software programmers, like a whole team of experts building this thing, and I cannot wait to see it.
Wow. I'm now very jealous.
Yeah. As soon as I knew that Justin was going to be there with the prototype, I tweeted at him and I was like, me, I want to play it. And I went and found him, I think on day 1 in the morning. And I was like, please, let's make it happen. I also got to try Era, which is coming out at Gen Con, Era Medieval Age. And I got to try the new Wolfgang Warsch game, Die Tavernen im Tiefental, which the Tavern of Tiefental, which is coming out end of this year from North Star Games in America. It's already out in Europe, but I actually got to try some stuff that's like not out yet, which I don't typically get to do. So that was fun for me.
Nice. I did get to play, I guess the closest thing to a prototype I played is Kaman's Foodies. Which is a game about food stalls that has similar mechanisms to, say, Space Base or Machi Koro. One player is rolling and everybody gets resources, and then you're buying new food stalls to go on your grid and trying to get them to synergize with each other to earn points and money. It was neat.
Very cool.
So before we move away from games, I do have a challenge for you, but I did notice your T-shirt, Crystal. And so I have to ask, you are wearing the Burninator on your shirt.
Let's see if I can.
Very nice.
Yes, I, like many other people, came home today and found Trogdor in my mail. I'm so excited. I honestly I don't have high expectations for the mechanics. Or you have it too.
Of course I do. Yes, I have it as well. This is not a surprise. We talked about this before the show. Neither of us have actually played the game yet. My expectations are, let's say, cautious, but I bought this specifically for the IP. I love Homestar Runner. I loved the Strong Bad emails. I have the soundtrack. This was something I really was looking forward to. Although I did not go all in. You could have gotten this at a miniatures base funding level where they had 3D minis. I just went with the meeples.
You mean these?
Oh, you've got them, don't you?
You mean these minis?
I mean,
look at the thatched roof cottages.
Oh my goodness. So that's great, except the box is the same size if you didn't get the minis, and this is just a cardboard thing. So it's empty. Like, maybe I can upgrade it later. I don't know. Maybe if I like it, I'll seek out the minis.
I mean, you don't need the minis and the figurines by any means, but I had to. And so I also backed to get the character meeples, which aren't even part of the gameplay.
No, they don't do anything.
They do nothing, but come on. Look, I have a wooden poop smith now. Look at this. I have the poop smith. Oh no, I dropped some of them. I've got Hamsar. I've got the King of Town. I've got Coach Z. I've got Bubs. I've got Pom Pom. I've got Strong Mad. I've got them all. They're all here. And I'm going to put these in another game. I would chat if you have any recommendations for games that would be good to replace all of the player pieces for. I have a total of, 4, 8. I have 12 of these. And then I also have another 4, 5 of the variations of Trogdor.
You can be different types of Trogdor. This is a
be-
cooperative game, the actual Trogdor game, and you can choose which version of Trogdor you want.
Yeah, I spent the early 2000s like religiously refreshing this homestarrunner.com. Every week, I think it was Thursdays that Strong Bad emails tended to come out new. I was there right when they released all the time. I knew everything. I am still waiting. I'm going to talk to you brothers, chaps, who I know are not watching this stream. I need a Teen Girl Squad board game. Please, please.
Ooh.
Give me Teen Girl Squad in board game form. That's all I ask. I mean, that's not all I ask, but that's what I definitely want.
When this game is done, it says in the rules, you're all supposed to yell, "It's over!" It's in the rules. You have to do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the rule book is great. Eric actually pointed out before we started streaming that it has been annotated by Strong Bad himself. So there's like what looks like fake taped things and handwritten notes in the margins.
He's put masking tape in the book and then written in the margins.
Ain't no peasant like a flaming peasant, he writes in.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of flavor for sure. And, whether the game is fun or not, I hope it's fun. Whether it's good or not is yet to be determined.
My best guess is this is going to be a mediocre, enjoyable co-op game. That is my assumption. And I love the IP, so I think that that's okay.
All right, it's time for a challenge.
Hooray!
Crystal, the last time, this is one that we have done before, and the last time we attempted this game, you did incredibly well. And I'm trying to see if that was a fluke or if you are a genius at playing just two.
Ooh, okay.
So here we go. You are going to get help from the chat on this. You may not look at the chat or the screen because I will be showing two words to the chat. I will take the first 10 clues that the chat can give. Obviously, you can't say the word that's on the card, but Crystal's not going to know which of the two words you are giving a clue for. Also, any duplicates that I see amongst the 10 words will get eliminated from the words that Crystal gets. I'm going to give you, let's say 2 guesses. Maybe if I feel like it, you'll get a third. I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, I have minimized my video and the YouTube, so I have nothing. I'm just staring at a picture of my dog on my computer screen at this point.
Awesome. Well, that's your lifeline right there. Yeah. You can ask the dog. Chat, if you can help me out when you do give clues, please type in all caps so it's easier for me to spot them. And there is a theme for the 2 sets of words, and so ultimately we're trying to see if you can guess the theme for the 2 sides. Are you ready, Crystal?
I am as ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here we go. Here is the first pair of words, chat. There we are. Oh, let me make sure both are on the screen. Yes, there we go. Those are the words that you are trying to give clues for. You are each giving 1 clue for one or the other word. And this is the part where Crystal feels like she's in an isolation booth because
a little
we're
bit.
just
I'm
waiting.
just staring at a picture of Lana.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that is our 10th word. And I see. Come on, stop scrolling there. That's not... There we go. I see 1 duplicate. No, I think that's it. Okay, so here are your clues. You've got Irish, Idaho, fries, calipo, spud, ice, baked, salad.
Okay, so almost all of those words seem to have to do with potato. So
potato is correct. You've got one of them.
Calipo is not a word I'm familiar with, so I don't know what that means. You want to run through them real fast one more time just to see if there were...
Yeah. So you've got Irish, Idaho, fries, calipo, spud, ice, and baked. I actually counted one more and gave you salad as well.
Okay. Ice is the only one that I am definitively saying is not related to potato. So
You've never had a frozen potato?
I mean, no, they
They're
seem a little bit
delightful.
tough like that. So
Delightful.
I'm gonna guess cube for my second word.
All right, that's a no. And so we're going to put that on the no side. You didn't get that one. We're going to move on to clues number 2. So I'm going to reset the chat so I can see the new things. Oh, those were great clues that came in later. She would have been sure to get those. Okay, here comes word number 2, or words number 2, I guess. I should note that that I did put a proper name or two into the clue pile this time. All right, chat, there you go. There are your 2 words. Okay, I've got 1. I've got 2. I've got 3. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. I'm not sure we have any duplicates this time. Just double checking here. Da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-da-dun-da-da. Nope, I think you're good.
Okay.
All right, so we have talk, giant, Porsche, girls, hearsay, rebel, Martin, chit chat, tabloids, clueless.
Okay, well, clueless is definitely what I am right now. Wow. I'm for my first guess, I'm gonna say gossip.
Gossip is correct.
Okay.
You got that one.
Portia. What would make someone say rebel? Portia? Like, is it like James Dean?
James Dean is correct. You got both.
Oh, shoot, really?
You got both words.
Nice job, chat.
Well done. Okay, let's move on to word pair number 3. Here are your 2 words, chat. Everybody's really impressed with your answer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just congratulating you. No one's giving clues right now. It's just congratulations right now. Okay.
I feel like I've recently made a reference to Rebel Without a Cause in something else. And when I gave you the Rebus game, I had something in there that had James Dean in it, or Rebel, like it was Rebellion, I think. And I think I had a picture of James Dean. I bet that is what I'm thinking of. So it was in my brain.
Yeah, the clues this time are maybe a little more on the nose because several have been removed.
Okay.
I see 3 sets of clues that have been removed. Let's see what we've got left. Bath, salad, sauce, and that's it. Bath, salad, and sauce.
Okay.
There was a trio that was removed. There were 2 pairs that were removed. So you should have 3 clues left.
Okay. I will say dressing.
That's incorrect.
Okay. What was the last word of the 3? Bath, salad, and what?
Bath, salad, sauce.
Sauce. Ranch?
Ranch is correct.
Okay.
Well done. I'm going to give you a third guess on that one.
I mean, not that it's going to help too much because it's not. So bath relates to something. So we could. This is not an official guess. It could be bubble. It could be bath bomb. It could be shower. I'm going to say shower.
It is not shower.
Okay.
I'm going to set that one aside.
Okay.
If you need clues at the end, I'll bring back the words that you didn't get. But you were close with shower. Let's say that.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to word pair. This is number 4, correct?
Sure, I'm not
Right.
keeping count.
All right, I have 6 total. So here we go. We're halfway. Here are the 2 for word pair number 4.
I guess sometimes in this little lull, I should talk so the chat's not just. Oh wait, but you have to hold the words up, but they probably already saw them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's the words once again. I'll just
I know
make sure I have control of the camera.
I ruined
All right.
everything.
Clues are coming in, and 3 are already out. Oh boy, you have 0 clues right now. Okay, well, 5, 6. Okay, there we go. Let's double check. But yeah, the first 3 are out. Then the first 5 are out. So of the remaining, you get hot, eruptions, molten, volcano, and magma.
Okay, well, literally all of those point me toward lava.
Lava is correct.
And
I wish you lots of luck getting the second word.
okay. I have not detected a theme yet, but that's mostly because my short-term memory is bad, and therefore all I remember right now is potato. But we did have there was a food kind of theme going, so I'm gonna say burger.
Burger is not right. I don't
Okay.
think it's going to happen with the third guess. So I'm
Probably not.
I don't think any of the remaining clues applied to the second word. So
Gotcha.
it was a stab in the dark, no matter what happened.
Man,
All
but
right.
how cool would it have been if I'd gotten it right?
That
Although then people would have accused us of cheating, so it's probably good that I didn't.
very much so. No, I think yeah, there were some really good clues that got eliminated. Okay, here we go. Word pair number 5. There's our new pair. And yeah, lots of great clues coming up right now for the
The
previous
chat is
pair of
always so
words.
good at this game. I love you all. You're just the best.
Okay, so we have our first clue coming in. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And there was again a gigantic theme, so all of those are going away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 of them are out. So Andes, Andies, press, heated, spear, steam, and pepper.
Okay, my first guess is iron.
Iron is not right.
Oh, wow. Like press and steam and I think something else all uh oof. Andes. You know I'm hungry when you said Andes, the first thing I thought of was a frozen custard place in Missouri where my family lives. And I was like, ooh, frozen custard sounds really good right now.
I have to say I wasn't thinking of that specific frozen custard
And
place.
it's spelled differently anyway. Once you spelled it, I was like, oh, it's clearly not that.
Yep.
I pressed. Steam. I'll just say engine.
No. One more guess, one more stab in the dark.
There was spear in there too. How about tool?
Oh, I get what spear was now. Okay. No, you didn't get any of them, but those were great clues, and you'll find out why soon. Okay.
Okay.
Last set. Chat was doing so well.
I believe you, and I really sometimes it's just hard to see the connections.
Okay. Here we go. The last pair. It's okay, chat. You're doing great.
Aw, you can do it, little buddy. Come on, chat.
Yes, they're complaining that that I may have influenced them in some way on that last set of clues. I'm really sorry. Okay, our first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have the clues. And let me just get those in there. Looking for, I see one pair. Just one pair. Okay, so we should have 8 clues. The first is coal, burner, winter, top, pipe, potbelly, and I actually gave you one you shouldn't have had, so you'll just get that one clue.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. And, oh, hearth.
Okay. Well, stove is my first guess.
Stove is absolutely right. There you go.
Okay. And then most of those words did seem to do with stove on first glance, unless I forgot some of them. So just because potbelly was in there, even though I know that's a type of stove, I'm going to guess pig.
Not pig. You want to hear the words one more time before one guess?
Sure, we'll go one more real quick.
So we had coal, burner, winter, top, pipe, potbelly, and hearth.
I will say hat.
Close, but not quite. Okay. So that is the whole thing. Now, should I put these into the categories or should I just give you... I'm going to give you all the words you got right.
Okay.
And you can try and tell me. And then I'll add words in that you didn't necessarily get. And we'll see if you can get the 2 categories.
Okay, and I'm going to pull my video of you up. Is that okay?
Yes, you may now do this.
Okay.
So you got stove. That was the last one you picked up. You got lava. You got ranch. You got James Dean. You got gossip.
I'm very confused so far.
And you got potato.
Okay.
Any guesses yet? Chat has gotten it.
What?
One.
I'm so confused.
Yep, and yes, 2 people in the chat have it. Okay, so now I'm going to put these in the categories.
Hot.
I'm sorry, what?
Hot.
Yes.
Okay.
Hot potato, hot gossip, hot lava, and a hot stove. You also missed, where'd they go? A hot sauna.
Oh, okay.
That was very difficult. And hot tub.
Tub. Okay. So yeah, bathtub. That makes sense.
So how about the other one?
Ranch, James Dean.
What do those 2 have in common?
A very bad adult novel. I don't.
All right. Let's add mint.
Mint, ranch, and James Dean. I have a feeling that I should be more up on my James Dean movies than I am.
How about cucumber?
What? This is not helping.
No?
My adult novel just got way worse. Okay.
Popsicle.
Popsicle.
And snowman.
I am so lost.
Okay, so if this was hot...
They're cold? But ranch? Oh, cool. Cool! Because
Cool Ranch!
Dean is cool. Cool as a cucumber.
Yes!
Okay.
There you go. We got it.
Much better.
I feel a lot better now too.
Oh my gosh, that was wonderful.
Chat, you're fantastic. Those were we don't want to go back to the adult novel. Thank you. Oh my 50 Shades of James Dean. They're all brainstorming titles. Okay, well, while you're brainstorming titles for the adult novel we just created, if you have any questions for Crystal or me, games we played at Dice Tower Con, or anything else we've talked about or haven't talked about, please let us know. Ask those questions in the chat. Crystal, was there anything non-game related that really stood out for you at Dice Tower Con this year?
I will say, So we did the top 5 list, which was the top 5 annoying types of gamers. And and most people did not realize prior to us doing that was my very first official top 5/10 list with the Dice Tower. Aside from one episode of the podcast that I did with you and Tom back when you all were having a third chair host, but like of the like group lists, this was my first one. And it was so much fun. I loved doing it. I want to do all of them.
I always get very nervous with those, just because the guys, Tom, Sam, and Z, are so used to working together in video and ribbing each other, and it's almost like jumping into the lion's den when you have to sort of keep up with the three of them. But I think you did a fantastic job, Crystal, keeping up and getting our jabs in. It was really solid.
I had a good time with it. Yeah. And everybody is very quick-witted. And so you kind of feel that compulsion to like jump in quickly, but I also didn't want to step on other people's toes. And there was a lot of us. So trying to strike that balance between jumping in and saying something amusing and knowing when to hold back is sometimes tough for me because I like to talk a lot. But honestly, I had a really good time and I hope people enjoy it. I don't think it has been released yet, but it was recorded on video, I believe, and will be coming out on the channel in the near future.
It should be, yes.
So yeah, if you all like my contribution, you should definitely email Tom and tell him to put me on more of those lists because I want to do more. I love lists. Everybody's like, oh, I hate making lists. I love it. So give me more.
So one opportunity to do that again would be Dice Tower East 2020. Have you made plans to come yet, Crystal?
I mean, I don't have any formal travel arrangements as of now, but my plan is certainly to be in attendance at Dice Tower East 2020.
Yes, I mean, I don't have plans yet either. It's a year away. If you haven't seen the announcement, the convention is rebranding as Dice Tower East for next year. We'll be in a new location. I actually got to see and tour the new location as I was heading out of town. It was on my way to the airport. It's only like a 15-20 minute Uber ride from the airport, which is significantly better than the hotel we've had. And it was only maybe a $18 or $20 Uber ride, which is great. Lots of smaller rooms in the new hotel space. It's several, I guess, not smaller than they've been, but sort of several large rooms, but we'll be able to split up a little bit. There will be some smaller breakout rooms for quiet games. We're looking at a kids area that's sort of separate, and as sort of a kids/family room that may also be an event space later. That may be where werewolf games end up at night. There's still a lot of decisions being made as to how to split up the space, but there's a lot of potential here, and the staff at the new hotel, the Florida hotel, is really solid and excited to have us. So it's going to be an interesting, exciting time for next year. I do want to say though that the team, we sort of said this at the beginning, the team running Dice Tower Con for the past 7 years has been fantastic. And always so welcoming whenever I came down. And I want to thank them for 7 years of fantastic work, because we all had such a blast, not just this year, but in the years past. It's really been a wonderful experience. And we have some big shoes to fill in taking on the event for next year.
Absolutely. I've been to Dice Tower Con for the past 3 years. And the first one I came to, I was not planning on coming every single year, mostly because of the distance. It's very difficult for me to get to Florida time-wise and distance-wise. And after my first Dice Tower Con, my first thought was, oh man, I need to come to Florida every July now. And that's a big deal. Like, that's not a small endeavor, but the con is that wonderful. So yeah, Patrick and Molly and Lori and all of the team that has been helping out with the con has just been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Let's see, a lot more questions about Dice Tower East.
I think so I know that obviously people have had concerns. Anytime there's a change to anything, people tend to kind of be hesitant and questioning and whatever else. And I would say that and you can tell me if you believe I'm out of place here, but I believe Tom has a vision for what he wants Dice Tower East to be, and is going to try and make that vision happen, but it's still a year away. So if there are specific things that people want to see at that event, I would say it is okay for you to let Tom know, but do it kindly and do it graciously, because I think a lot of people tend to have knee-jerk reactions to changes like this. And I saw someone in the chat say, you know, apparently you're going to need Tom's permission to play a 6-player game of Catan. And I can, even without talking to Tom, I can say I know that that will not be the case. I think when Tom did his live video, there were certain things that he said that may not have come out exactly as he intended them to. And I can't fathom that you will need permission to play a 6-player game of Catan.
No, I think the what he was talking about was some very large games of Werewolf that took up a lot of space. You know, there's less space at this this event at the new facility, and we just have to find a way to share it most effectively, really. That doesn't mean there won't be events of Werewolf or Two Rooms and a Boom or larger event games. It just means they have to be scheduled and can't necessarily have their own dedicated space for the entire course of the convention. I think that's really what he's saying, and it's not like you need to have permission to play an 8-player game in the main gaming hall. It's just that we can't have dedicated Werewolf space or social gaming space unless it's a scheduled event. That's really what it is.
Right. And I think that's what people need to recognize is there's not a lot that's completely set in stone in that regard. And B, it's going to be a process. So I think if you do have things that you really want to see at that event, be very kind and gracious, and you can suggest that kind of stuff, because Tom does want to take feedback from people. It's not a con for him, it's for you all. And so he does want to hear from people about what they want and what they want to see. And likewise for Dice Tower West, same kind of deal. We're really trying to make Dice Tower East and Dice Tower West true like sister conventions, in that you get a similar feel and a similar vibe when you go to either. Obviously, there will potentially be different people in attendance because they're on opposite sides of the country, but you will know that when you go to a Dice Tower convention, no matter where it's held, that you will have a lot of open space to just sit down and play board games, whether that's with your friends or with strangers or with members of the Dice Tower team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. How well we'll be able to do it, we have a year to figure it out. I'm excited. There's a lot of potential in the new space, and it's going to be a great time. And I think we'll still have a lot of people to play with. It's supposed to be about 1,800 people. That's still a really good sized convention. And there should be a lot of fun to be had next year in Orlando. So I'm excited.
I am excited as well. Lots of chat about Dice Tower East in there. Were there any other questions hiding in the chat?
Not really. I mean, there was one that I saw, your top 5 games that you played at Dice Tower Con. We've sort of been talking about that already.
I mean, I can tell you my worst game I played at Dice Tower Con.
Sure. Was there anything that didn't really land for you?
Yeah, one of the Spiel des Jahres nominees, Llama.
Really? I have been hearing not great things about Llama. I didn't play it myself.
For the record, it is just a boring card game. It's not actually a horrible game, truthfully, but it is like most people are likening it to Uno, and that is an apt comparison. It's just as complex as Uno, maybe even a little less so. It's just boring. Like for a simple card game, if you have young kids and you want to teach them how to play a game, it would work for that. But being a Spiel des Jahres nominee, I can't fathom why. I don't understand why this one got nominated for such a prestigious award. And I get that that award specifically is geared toward family games, but like to me, it's more like King Domino that has been nominated in the past. It's approachable to a family, but also has some very interesting design and depth to it. Llama is not interesting.
Okay. I played one that I actually played it twice just to make sure that I didn't like it as much. But I was disappointed in the Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell board game of English Magic that came out. I think it's either out or coming very soon from Osprey Games. It's based on the book. Have you read the novel?
I have not.
Okay. This came out like right after the last Harry Potter book. It was sort of hailed as if you liked Harry Potter, you'll like this one. And the novel is pretty dense and doesn't really get moving until like the last third of it. But the game is sort of obtuse, and while it embraces the theme pretty well, I think it's too frustrating and limiting and incredibly difficult. Uh, on a first play, because not only are you fighting the other players or working against them, you're also working against this Raven King, and he gets progressively stronger. And if the really bad cards come out early, you will have no chance of catching the guy before the game is over. And then you just sort of see who comes in first place in being second, against the Raven King. I'm going to talk about it more on the Dice Tower podcast, but it really didn't land for me.
Yeah, most of the other games I played, to be honest, were pretty great. I wish I had picked up a copy of Slide Quest when they still had them available at the booth. They were sold out by the time I got back, and that one was really fun. And I got to demo Letter Jam, which I really liked as well. Letter Jam's coming out from CGE at Gen Con, and it's a cooperative word game where your letters that are in front of you, you cannot see. They're facing the other players, like in Hanabi or Pakoko. Okay. And I liked that one quite a bit as well.
Awesome. Well, my Ember Wave has just turned off after its hour cycle, so that probably means that it's time to wrap things up.
I would say that's probably an accurate description. So thank you so much, chat, for joining us. As always, if you could, please, before you click off of the video, look down below the video and see that little thumbs up button. Just click the little thumbs up. Just give us a little thumbs up if you enjoyed the stream. We really appreciate it. It helps with the metrics and with other people finding this video after the fact. If you were at Dice Tower Con, we hope that you got to say hi to us. If you didn't, guess what? You can come and see us at Gen Con in just 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
My first Gen Con ever. I'm so excited.
We've never been able to hang out twice in like the same month.
Never, literally never. So this is going to be pretty exciting. And I'm really, truly very excited to just see the spectacle that is Gen Con for the first time. So if you all are going to be at Gen Con, we'll mention this again in the future, but make sure you stop by the Dice Tower booth and say hello, please.
Yes, do. So we'll have one more show right before Gen Con, and then we might be dragging Tom back on the show, or at least I will, in about a month.
The week after Gen Con, ironically enough, I have a Weird Al Yankovic concert the same night as we would have been doing Dice Tower tonight. So I'm going to be seeing Weird Al on the Wednesday after Gen Con. So not our next episode, but 2 from now. We're trying to get Tom back on to co-host with Eric. I know I'm irreplaceable, but you all will probably be very excited to see Tom back on the show for at least a little while. But I guess that's in a couple of episodes. But until next time, I'm Crystal Pisano.
I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight.
Thanks for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Chris Barr, Roy Kennedy, and Rob Searing. That dream I had where the entire Pacific Ocean was transformed into alphabet soup provided by WordSea. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.